We're talking about 17 kids in one classroom. I want to know what happened in that classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
They're our children.
I love those kids.
Apologies, because this first question is a really big one, but I wanted to follow up on something you said in our press notes. You said, I think what's happened in the trajectory of my career is after 40 years, I've started to look at things a little bit differently. I was wondering if you could elaborate on that. What is something that you are looking for in projects now that you might not have been before?
The focus before is this idea, because I went the first 20 years really, in no man's land. And I think after No Country and all that, you started to find some kind of footing and working with great filmmakers. But, you want to keep working, because that thing that you've heard a million times, it's like, oh, I'm never going to have another job again. That doesn't exist as much anymore. And it's just like waiting for, we did 5 jobs this year, but they're all with really stellar filmmakers. So it's like, when do you do 5 jobs? Well, when you have the opportunity to work with 5 amazing people. And then if 2 years goes by and, that doesn't happen, that's okay too. And it's not spending time with family, because my family comes with me everywhere. So, which is a massive pain in the ass because you're trying to do that and do that and do that, but it's worth it ultimately at the end. So we're not working for the rest of the year for sure. And we'll just focus on family. But it's been a fun run.
That path and those priorities are taking you to filmmakers like Zach. I am here for it.
Me too.
I want to dig into some backstory now, and I don't know how much you like to do on your own, but one particular thing I was wondering about with Archer is, what do you think it is about who he is that makes him want to get up and find his son, whereas other parents in that town are not doing that?
I think initially his ego, because he's got like that hero complex, and he wants to be perceived as, the Superman, super masculine man, all that kind of stuff. But if you look at the way he treats his son in the beginning, it's pretty contracted and it's pretty unemotional and all that. And I think what he gets to is he starts to get broken. And I love characters like that come across as these kind of staunch ideas of what a man should be, and they get slapped in the face. And ultimately end up just human.
Oh, I feel that big time while watching this. To add another layer to him, there was a particular thing that I also read in our notes that you had said about your early conversations with Zach, where he told you that each character in this movie represents a part of him dealing with the death of a close friend. Yeah. I was wondering if you could tell me about that conversation and maybe what particular part Archer represents.
When I met him and I read the script, and I loved the design of the script so much, and I was like, I'm really intrigued to meet this guy. I hadn't seen Barbarian yet. I just wanted to meet the guy that wrote that script. And he was very open with me. It was the opposite of what I'm talking about, this idea of like, I'm good, I got tattoos and I got the thing and I got, and he just told me, he said, this is based on a really traumatic experience that I had, and every character is based off a different facet that I was going through that grief. And I don't know, man. I think somebody willing to offer themselves up in that way, I was like, if you can make films on top of it.
Oh yeah,
I love that. Yeah, and then I saw Barbarian, and then I really liked Barbarian because it was so unique. But I called my daughter and I said, what'd you think of Barbarian? She was like, oh my God, one of the greatest films of the last whatever years. And so yeah, it was all very positive. That all kept leading back to yes.
Has your daughter seen this one yet?
No, I've seen it once. We talked about seeing it in IMAX, which I think would be great.
Oh, I would love that.
I know, me too. No, I had a very profound experience seeing it, and that hasn't happened very much. Because when you kind of know how a film's going to be, and you go, I have an idea of these filmmakers. When I see the Coens, I know like it's going to be a certain type of film. But this fully exceeded my expectation, and I'm like, everybody wants to say that during an interview because they go, oh, this is the best movie ever made, and then but it really like is a special filmmaker.
I wanted to start with a question about working with Zach, because one of my favorite things about his movies is that every time I walk out of one, I know to my core, no one on this planet could have made that film other than him. Yeah. What is something that the two of you saw him do on this set that maybe speaks to that singularity?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good way of putting it. And to me, that's the core of it. I read this script and was like, I've never read anything like this. This might be one of the best scripts I've ever read. And when I met him, what I came to understand is that he makes these things out of a place that's so personal and so real to him, even though it's not his story. And the whole world can kind of feel that, and that's just a testament to an artist making something that's true to who they are.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great point. It's not every day. You can have brilliant directors, but it's very rare when they have such a clear identity and point of view that you can't replicate it. And he's definitely one of those directors, which is so exciting to have the opportunity for us to get to work with him. But I think what makes it super human and super extreme, but also feels very intimate and relatable, which makes it really scary. So
yeah,
there's so many follow-up things that I want to say, and I can't. I'm going to hold it back, but I do want to follow up on what you brought up in terms of his movies feeling so personal, because there was a quote in our press notes that Josh said that caught my eye. He mentioned that Zach told him that each character in this movie represented a part of him dealing with the death of a close friend. So I was wondering if the two of you could tell me about the conversations you had with Zach about that and maybe what they specifically represent.
He never outlined that super specific. I mean, he told me that story, yeah. and then we didn't ever. He talked loosely about the part of him that each of these characters, but it was really clear. I mean, once he said that, and then the way in which this film relates to addiction, I looked at my role and I went, "Oh, I understand what part of him this is." It in a way makes it feel more meaningful because you feel like you're playing almost playing somebody else that's real, or you're playing a part of a person that's very real. So it makes it feel more meaningful.
He was very clear, and it was very clear on the page as well. But then it was also really great because he also gave us the freedom to play and do our own thing, but gave us very clear direction too. So
I think it's also just a testament, and it's like a good lesson for young filmmakers to take away, that if you do write or create from a place that is that true to who you are on that deep of a level, people can tell. They can't necessarily, they don't need to know that. I didn't know that when I read the script for the first time, but it's alive in a different way, and it's sort of separates the chicken dinner from the chicken.
Saying it's alive in a different way really does speak to me right now. I called his direction in this so assured, and I feel like that is heavily attached to that quality.
Very much so.
Wanted to make sure to end on this question inspired by something you said in our press notes. You're basically talking about how this movie had such good vibes on set, and you specifically said that every single day had a pinch me moment. So can you maybe each single out the specific day or moment of making weapons that I guess was the biggest pinch me moment or brought you the most joy as an artist?
I think every day is a pinch me moment when the material is great, the cast is amazing, and the crew and the director and everybody is just bringing their A game, and they're super kind and professional, and that is a pinch me moment every single day because it's not every day that it happens like that. So.
We have a scene early on that's big long scene in a bar. And that was the scene that really made me fall in love with the movie and made me understand just how character-driven this movie was. And so when we actually, I think it was the last scene maybe that I filmed.
No, well, the bar scene.
I think so.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene too.
Yeah, and so.
And we were the most nervous about that one.
Yeah, that scene, it's a big, long scene. Getting to actually film that in the bar and being in that and just making that come to life was a big deal.
There's something very, very wrong going on.
Can you tell me what idea number one was, the thing that started this all, but then also if you had a break story moment along the way, something you came up with that made it feel whole and ready to go?
I didn't have an idea for the movie when I started writing the movie. I was like, okay, little girl telling a story. Takes place at a school. Kids go to school. Teacher, follow a teacher. Class is empty. Why? I don't know. Let's find out. And then 2 sentences later, because the kids all ran out the night before. Okay, That's a hook I like. So I knew then, I was like, I have a good question. So then I probably wrote 50 pages before I even knew what the answer was going to be, honestly. So, I got the teacher, I got the angry dad, and they're kind of doing their cat and mouse sort of a thing. And then I got this cop, and it wasn't until about the midpoint where I had the kind of what it was. And that was a really good moment for me because I was like, this might not ever be a thing. I might not have anything here. If I don't have a good answer, there's no reason to watch this movie. But
good answer.
I got one. I think I got one.
I want to ask you about so many of the cast members, but because we don't have time to go through every single one, I'll ask you this. Can you tell me which role in the movie was the easiest to fill, where like the right person kind of magically presented themselves? But then I also want to know which character was the most difficult to find the perfect actor for.
Well, Amy, it took me a long time to find Amy. But once I did, it was like there's no one else on Earth. There's no one else on the planet that can do what Amy did. It was just weird. The movie gods just kind of, sometimes they look out for you. I love her. I love her to death. And then Austin also was like, I knew I needed Austin.
I've never seen him do anything quite like this before.
He's so good, dude.
I almost didn't recognize him.
Yeah, well, he's method, so he lost a lot of weight. And he was the only one, so I was gonna shoot this a year before I ended up shooting it. And my schedules got messed up with the strikes and everything, and he was the only actor from my first cast that hung tough with me and shot a year later. And that meant for a year, he had to stay at that weight, which was like 35 pounds underweight for him. So he just really committed and stayed committed.
He is something else in this, as is everyone. I wanted to make sure to ask about the marketing campaign for this movie because I've been so incredibly impressed by how well they've balanced maintaining the mystery but also effectively selling your film. And it was making me wonder, did you have a closer working relationship with the Warner Brothers marketing team to make sure that, they preserved the mystery of your vision but were still able to do their jobs as well as they have?
They were wonderful. They were never gonna blow this. I did not have to put up guardrails. I mean, I said in the beginning, let's lean into the question, let's lean away from the answer. And they were like, absolutely. And to their credit, they did. There were a couple of things here and there that I was like, can we take that shot out? And they were like, no problem. So it was never a locking of horns. They were so collaborative and so talented.
Job well done. I want everyone to experience this movie just like I did, knowing almost nothing.
That's the best way to go in.